What is going on, guys? So this is a spare tire delete. A lot of you have seen these. More specifically, this is the spare tire delete that I have on my Jeep. It's a Dirt HQ, aluminum, fully boxed, countersunk, fancy schmancy plate hardware, all laser cut, CNC bent. It's a pretty nice one. But you usually can't talk about these without someone who probably takes a shovel with them to Macy's and has D-rings on their bumpers so thoroughly seized to take a breaker bar to get them off, telling you that you always need to be prepared. And these are stupid because if you have one of these, you're not prepared. So I'm gonna put this down and tell you guys a little bit about why I have it. And you just start this off with just a disclaimer. This is not for everyone. If you're taking your JK down to the Horn of Africa via ocean and airplane, and yeah, you probably want your dual spare tires and all that. But I'm gonna go over why I have it and why it might just be what you need. So we'll start off with the first kind of reason to try to put a little bit of logic to why a lot of us run these spare tire deletes. And so I've got kind of my little cheat sheet here on the back of a Durham Town map. And these are in no particular order. It's just kind of as I thought of them, and probably because of just how much I think about them. And the first one's visibility. So I've ran the spare life. I've definitely but with a smaller tire, and it was a lot more manageable. Once you start getting into 40, 42 inch tire territory, hanging the tire off the back like that removes all of your rearward visibility. So maybe somewhere really wide open, or if you're always running no roof and whatever, it might not be that bad. But here on the East Coast, a lot of tight trees, a lot of tight maneuvering. I usually run a top most of the time just because the weather here is way too sporadic. And it's a soft top that it's all scraped up. Seeing out of it already is hard enough. And being able to look behind me, and especially on my Jeep that's stretched and the tires are pretty far back, knowing that I can back up just pretty much all the way to that window and I can see what's going on and I can make that 3-point turn in a tight trail is super, super priceless. And it's why, I mean, you can see behind me, I do actually have a spare for the Jeep. There's a 40-inch Nitto right there. And that tire, when I take it, it just lays down in the trunk. It doesn't mess with my visibility, and it doesn't mess with a lot of the points I'm about to make. So the second reason is weight, especially big tires. 40-inch Nitto, I believe, weighs about 140 pounds. Add the wheels and add a tire carrier that's beefy enough to take the abuse of all that momentum and bouncing around of a big tire. I mean, you're probably talking about 300-400 pounds once all said and done. That's a lot of weight on a Jeep that I try to keep as light as possible for a JK on 1 tons. I try to use aluminum where I can. It's just half door soft top build, super light and tight armor, and bumpers and all that. And that's a lot of weight, especially once you start talking bigger, like 42, 43-inch tires. It definitely adds up. And that kind of ties directly into the next one, which is center of gravity. Not only is that weight, but your traditional tire carriers put that weight really high up and really far back, which when you're trying to climb something, the last thing you want is weight really high up and really far back. Shift gears to a kind of completely different reason. Tires aren't what they used to be. So I'm on my 4th set of tires on that Jeep that I ran all the way bald. Oh, broke my pen. Ran all the way bald. I have wheeled them a lot. Wheeled them not having beadlocks. Wheel them at probably higher pressures than the terrain they're in probably should be at. I've had BF Goodrich mud terrains, like ones that came on my Jeep. I've had MTRs. I've had 2 sets of trail grapplers. On other Jeeps, I've had another set of trail grapplers. I've had KM3s. The only time I have ever gotten a flat was because airing down, I forgot to tighten my valve stem all the way, and the tires and the air slowly seeped out. And I just grabbed my compressor, filled it back up. I've never had a sidewall slice, anything like that. Half of that's because I don't run Milestars. But tires aren't what they used to be. Tires are a lot better. I mean, you hear the stories of our parents running freaking 8 spares to go on trips, and yeah, they were running ancient tires that sucked. We're not running groundhogs anymore, or Thornbirds, or whatever you want to pick some outdated tire that nobody uses anymore because they were terrible. Yeah, tires aren't what they used to be. They're a lot better. They're made with better materials. They last longer. They're a lot less susceptible to slices like that. mean, nowadays it's pretty common to hear guys make it through big off-road races without going through a set of tires. Or without going through a tire. Next reason, I kind of touched on that a little bit. Just because you run a spare tire delete and you don't run a tire carrier, it doesn't mean you don't have to run a spare. If you want to run a spare, which sometimes a spare is, like, I mean, pot calling the kettle black, I have a spare tire. Sometimes it's necessary. When I'm going somewhere to wheel really hard, I'll bring that spare with me. I'll either leave it on the trailer, or if it's a little bit more remote, I'll put it in the trunk. The weight is lower, it's out of the way, I don't see it. It's a lot more central in the Jeep, and a way better place to put that than hanging way up high. Two-door, a 40-inch fits perfectly fine laying flat in the back of the back. For a four-door, you have options like the Excessive Industries tire carrier, but nowadays, especially if like people who are wheeling hard obstacles, we're at an off-road park, I just leave it on the trailer most of the time. Usually within close proximity, and I'm usually with the group, so I can just, if something were to happen, which nothing ever has in the 6 years I've been wheeling a Jeep, I can just run back and grab the spare tire. Next one is cost. So this is kind of the initial reason why even I did it. I mean, we've all been there. I was 16, just trying to build a Jeep. When I first did the Rock Crawler 3.5 and 37s, already spending a ton of money on tires, already spending a ton of money on wheels. To do it right would have been another $400 for the tire, another $300 for the wheel, and probably another at least $1,000 for like a proper tire carrier to do it the right way. It's a lot of money. We're talking $1,500 just to add that extra spare tire. That buys you a lot of AAA memberships, and to run it right. Where just a tire and a wheel, you can, I mean, if you're just for trailer purposes or if it's just spare, just find something in your bolt pattern and size, spend a couple $100 on Facebook Marketplace, and you've got your spare for hard wheel that you can toss in the back, and you're good to go. Next one is going to be purely subjective, and this is the last one, but looks. I like how this looks. That's completely subjective. You don't have to like how this looks. I know a lot of people like the traditional spare tire look. I like the nice clean look of just the complete smooth rear of the Jeep. I've got the drop down tailgate, corners without the hinges, and this looks a lot cleaner to me than a big bulky tire carrier, the big bulky tire. And if I want to, spontaneously change the wheel and tire setup on my Jeep, which I'm going to do soon, it's one less thing I have to buy, one less tire I have to buy, which it's really nice. It's really nice to not have to worry about that. And it looks freaking sweet. Especially this one, the Dirt HQ. I'm going to just shameless plug this one more time. So that's why I run the spare tire delete on my Jeep. Just trying to put some more logic to the people who just go on Facebook and comment, "You're not prepared." It's not just, oh, we just didn't think about running a spare. Most of us thought about it. Most of us made it somewhat, or I'm not going to say most of us, because I don't know. But a lot of us made a somewhat educated decision on why we run this. And if you're new to the Jeeps and you saw them, you were kind of confused about it, maybe this helped shed some light. But yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. If you guys want to buy a spare tire delete, lucky for you, we make one. Again, shameless plug, thedirthq.com. Phenomenal price, $79 for this one, all aluminum, made in USA, laser cut, CNC bent, optional little countersunk hardware to look all nice and pretty. And this is available in two options, either like this or with a little slot cut out right here to run plate light wiring. So you can put your off-road only like light dot or something and stay completely legal, and you can run the plate either behind it to look all nice and smooth like that, or you can run it on top as traditional. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys learned something, and if you didn't learn something, at least maybe you found some satisfaction in a kid rambling on YouTube, or maybe you just thought I was an idiot the whole time. But either way, you're here, you made it to the end of the video. That makes me happy, and hope to see you guys on the next one.